He showed me a caterpillar in our backyard, molting out of its cocoon. And he said, "Don't hate what you are. Be patient. Someday we'll all have wings."
Counterclockwise metamorphosis contorting into bacterial organisms from Homo sapien forms. The swarm of a plague invades the populace, stains with metropolitan operas and terrains. The basis for this human enslavement is not the constant, but flawless, omniscient gods and goddesses, fiber optic, telepathic odysseys, telegraphing cosmic dreams like rapid optic sleep. Inoculates for this vague disease is hate and greed, the latencies that painfully germinate amid the seams to mitigate the imagination sees. Human beings are only a glimpse of sapient existences in a race of vibrational transitions to higher planes of densities and dimensions. Euclidean geometrics reflect invisible spectrums, redirection to the solar plexus center essence. A fixture in lessons of the Hermetics, an elixir of transmutational genetics. The holy templar of the Kemetic conception, the orator of mental aesthetics. Chemically embellished, enveloped in levels of melanin and emerald element sediments. Species eminence, Mandelbrot sequencing analog specimens. Camouflage, troglodyte, sabotage like global Oval Office espionage. False prophets with an iron cloak, choke on the pyre smoke, embrace the word from the Irish throat. But I, the untold hermit, rides with fervorous observance, climb motionless, determined to unbind third eyes through inward excursions. I am the inert storm, I am the sublime visage that my words form. I am the light when your eyes blinded and you lie dormant on life support. I am the force that uplifts, the kiss of the north wind, the infinite bliss that courses within. I am the crystal image of the divine light in men. I am the heavenly entity, the echo of infinity. I am man, woman, father, son, ghost in the holy trinity. I am engrossed rhythmically in tomes of gnosis. I am biochemically potent in doses. I am the conscious form of hypnosis. I am that which is inactive in the blackened synapses, detached from man's static actions. I am the last bastion redacted into fragments from untapped astral channels stagnant. I am the axiom of time lapsing, everlasting, ever expanding, spanning through millennial eras, entrancing. I am the vast expanse glancing through the hippocampic glass casting capstone through black holes of the pituitary gland chanting om. Soak the divine omens you hold inside, purified omnipotence glows frozen behind diamond groves and nodes silent. Behold the flames of violet, the alchemical refinement of the higher state of mind cycle, sublimating to erase decaying confinement's idol. Design its disguise infinity, luminous blue hues as the sun shines imbued with a divine identity energy.
Realm of peace, rapid eye machine, the paradox of mechanics, quantum deep, the solstice of the globulous topography, the conscious cortex, the first stage to perforate this monotonous world's flesh, the space-time warp cleft, embryonic vortex, the nascent vacuum, the Sharingan swirl suggests when an ambigram of its pupils, opposite points connect, the illustration of hypnotic degeneration, being swallowed in consummate dissipation, through hypercyclonic higher consciousness oscillations, psychologically broaden the resonation of mind state with time, space, unlimitation, involuntary intruders wander the halls of an oblong medulla, supporting the birth of that which will have one evolve like a doula. You're drawn to a future beyond any fictitious science and sutras, caught inside a world where you disappear like vessels that veer inside the borders of the Triforce to leave you lost in Bermuda. Regardless of my sorrow, I reach tomorrow with precognitive maneuvers while I'm prisoned within a figurative bottle of Kali Yuga. Erroneous discordance hinders the natural harmonious endorphins, but only in performance. The pleasant sensation that is more organically present is degraded, chemically faded, expelled, oppressed until everything it contains is spoken for in the shell that encased it is broken and distorted. But unlike the seeds that are destroyed irreversibly, any being that endures this adversity is capable of recovering like Wolverine getting surgery. Life has a capacity for resilience that surpasses a zillions. Any darkness is just light refracted and can reignite to absolute brilliance. If I can experience anxiety for weeks at a time, that means it's possible that the opposite can materialize. So despite how long we go without this peace in our lives, allow your eyes to adjust to see hope and keep it alive. We're each responsible for the balance that we achieve in our lives. It's not what you're given, it's what you do with what you receive that decides. We're all pixels within this HD TV we're inside. The image of shit cause too many are fixed in what the other pieces provide. Mind your business if it doesn't affect the light you're emitting. Focus on how bright you can get it and how you might provide some assistance. Help someone else shine if their fire has died or is dimming. Show them the truth of the fact that the fuel that's inside them is brimming. Inspire them to find what they're doing such a good job of hiding within them. If you have to remove them and stab the sockets with the eyes that were in them, personify what they must do with their eyes, the part is their vision.
They excited him and and we too had a relationship. Tight wires between us, pegs too deep to uproot, and a mind like a ring, shut on some quick thing, the constriction killing me also. The child's cry melts in the wall, and I in the arrow, igniting its carbon monoxide, my eyes dulled to a halt. How they awaited him, those little deaths.
And the nebulous mirage subsists, a goddess of a bullion truth. What I behold in my eye is the embodiment of beautiful body of light gaze, divine nature, the only moon I view. Powerful angelic magic teams in the soul and the looms of fuse of flower blooms from a akashic hexagonal fluid swoops. An alchemical egg that hashes a seed that grows into a fruit, camouflaged on a sacred branch of a geometry that the roots produce. And our looms contemplative fantasies comprised of doom and gloom, bound in a loop, trapped in the confines of a private hula hoop. The disoriented nature of a bite that consumes its tooth, dizzy by tranquility, bewildered by the existence of such innocence for infinity. How can love so unremittingly pour from just one entity? Admittedly, it would be difficult for the subject to endure the influx of that roaring energy, almost as difficult as absorbing the stimulant for it that's pouring into me. A paradoxic sensation, as exhausting as it is to inhale it, it also strengthens. When you are enamored by something so abstruse, your heart becomes glossolated and talks in a language that is so old that it predates all that is ancient, and that the words it speaks are spoken at the dawn of creation. They didn't exist prior to being sprawled as they evolved from the mouth of your experience and solid foundation. Not unlike clarity, sublime inflation that takes place after nodding off and waking. The blossoming nature of pollen provided by innate cognitive statement, and a pistol that swallows rather than fires projectiles, embracing that combines summation, arrowing towards something verily divine and sacred. Synchronized elation, these bonds are covalent, the sharing of your very soul's honor dilation, the reflection of something so far and deep inside that you need to acknowledge the significance of what you see on the other side when you face it. Many times such a witness decides to hide or try to escape it, so frightened by what their eyes imbibe as they're shown what it's seen below the surface, known to observers who don't inquire beyond what is provided to laymen. She's too familiar with the poignant plague of an undiscerning gaze to accept the existence of a passenger who's more than happy to explore a maze, not because he wants to escape, but in fact because actually he wants to remain enthusiastic to be hurled in the spectacular swirling flames of her massive auric blaze, to learn what matters most to her and support his reign, rather than for the purpose to obtain what it is that he himself may want to gain. The objective is to inundate her with an innate grin that will never fade from the face of the planet on which the emotion exists, in which she has occasion to swim, a world upon which she only wishes to stimulate a favorable shape to descend. He is not the blacksmith, just flames that allow the metal she wishes to change to be bent. What is forged in his heart is only determined by your own personal dedication and strength. He's just there to encourage the transformation, fanning the flames of her aura until what was formerly latent is dense. One small step for man with the impact of a planet cratered with dents. A flower inflates from her crown, 1,000 petals commence. Her moonbeams move my seed, the gravitation's intense. It's lunacy, beautifully imbalanced by the counterweight of a glimpse. Consumed beneath a smile strangles me as I drown voluntarily in her halo's ascent. Killer love fills my lungs. This is how you survey a dark corner of space and build a sun. Such polarity is the only comparison for what I will become.
An effulgent muse, elegant hue, benevolent, lest she manifest the reticent truth of the fettering dimethyl trip, the menacing noose. The ever-present vengeance of senescent death edges into view, the bearer of tombs underneath the flesh's delicate roots. The plaintive dawn awaits the tainted, scarred goddess of hatred spawn, a promise to ablate the storm, delayed to embrace the bliss of pain and wrath. Her grace is born, cradled under faceless arms, elation drawn from brains marred from fumigation of opiated fog. The length it takes to permeate her form is nothing more than the rate a horde of locust swarms saturates a plain lion's gaze and approbates their fall. From dusk till dawn she spawns in illustrious forms, from dust and beyond she's cusping the arms and drawn to the touch of Titania. But the stasis she longs isn't made by a 1,000 aged epoch meditation phenom, but the waste of a solitary grave which veins venom lace wage endogenous jihad. A latent array of faces, a variegated haloed angel strangles suffocated exacerbations by a lack of innovations that stimulate patterns of ventilating inhalations. The practice she basks in parallaxis, the gravity of action she's enacted, the manic laughter of masked men as she's had been a pageant of death, a circle of ash from the orphan's basket. The gorgon's glances captures her forfeited attraction, her dance thwarted by her own hands, romancing nomads, the snow sands wrapped in her nose as her soul abandons her on the sworded shore strand. Below a sky of glass she roams, cast aside, she's thrown out to die, she moans for guidance from the only light she knows. The night collided with a nameless silence, but this hell kite is a rare sight in a cloudless sky. She stares for all that she bears, the plight tears behind the pillion of her nightmare. She rides near, confiding in her sight's glare. I wish to hang her where the horizon stares, with chemical fire snares. Her iris peers my violet tears as I lie beside the sublime white, defied by an eye misguided to her demise. My highness dare. So to the gallows I walk with a host of shadow stalks. Stirs the archer's arrows knocked with a feral mock. I come to see your undeserved, the shallow blur under the grasp of want.
Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. I've never really viewed myself as particularly talented. Where I excel is ridiculous, sickening.
Shit's gone when they see the ice wall. Miss Storm, whip thorn. My lyrics spawn like a diphthong. Round roll, dawning on the crown slow. Years before we seeking sage, living like a John Doe. Adam's apple like a strong bow. Came and get an armhold, locking eyes, flying songbow. Sky dome, look behind though. A line closed doors, floating time off of eye roll. Side note, a door through hidden worlds, sun glowing sternum. Passwords in my verbum, damage you incur some. Passage of the earth monk, binary. I see answers where there were none. I'm me, absorbing into high speed till my eye bleeds. Don't rely on what the sun reads. Wise against the lies fleet, place rife with leaks virally. Why I just took a IOC, fight your being with the knife speed. Surreal yo, immaterial, non-linear, dissecting vitriol. Respect to those held aloft, never meant to stop. In the fable lock, making ends meet some demigods. Thunder for the layman's, aims containing. The dervishes outpacing, ubiquitous gazing, raising your mansions. Lost from the octave, raising conscious. Loch Ness in your enclave, spelling stars over clay. Releasing mind states, I embrace my chains. Dire streets, a lion made.
Defiance dilates, pupils awake. A pride inflates, we rove in search of prey. Mass grace that which stimulates the mirror that isolate. To truly understand what it is that their reflection indicates. 1% in date, immerse themselves into the whole of their authentic truth. Begin at the root and spiral to higher altitude. The sky invites the flowers bloom, exotic pollen clouds, rain hypnotic blossoms down on you. The horticultural ghosts that haunt tomorrow's garden boom. Potent soil that only immortals shadow wander through a cryoplasmic loop. The way curved like the contour of a saber tiger psychomatic tooth, swirling like the labyrinthine form of a fractal hypercube. This is the branch on which I travel, it saps, subsume an arduous path I adapt after contracting wounds. Reconfigure my exacting moves, the difficult maneuvers applied with turn on a dying aptitude.
Lantern raised to cast the same glance where the spiderling or lizard king weaving past the drainage canals. Cobble trailed, you can almost see the sliver of space beneath their veil, leaking a stream of quills into quilts of teardrops. It takes no additional tact to find where to emphasize, and still not one response from the mechanized wildlife. She sat on an awkward nest of her belongings, scrawling the passers-by. They didn't understand it yet, but the envy is in the hiding in reflection. The mistake at disassociation, staring dead at his reminiscence. The moth and dragonfly conversated next to an animated pile of bones. Dipping the skull till rushes fold in. Sumi one stroke summarized the bridge's demolition before beyond the capacity of knowing. Pick a line, dollar sign casualty, fake it, tenant, liquor monoxide. Under a moldy moon I describe my own revelations. Sunken freighter realization, intercepted sincerity. Sampling the sound of beetle wings pinned inside a shadow box carapace. Sound system of typewriters down a long hall. Long hollow underwater cave work in clay, so the tides reinvent the alignment of the tiles, changing the realm's purpose toward downward strides. For beneath these lurking ley lines like landslide. Amongst the summit, listen close to encompass.
To bear the crux's encumbrances, to bear the lust of its puppets. The summits of the skull is corruption, self-destruct, and again walk amongst them. Plunges to penumbral subtle clutch, disrupted by the shuttered sun's upsurging induction. When the equinox's purge is coming, the blur of the seraph's abrupt justice flux. When the herd is cold, but the incubus's touch brushes the slumbered, uncultured pneuma substance. Progenitus of oneness has come to encompass. The veils erupted, summons the seven thunders. The earth tears asunder, fed to its endless hunger. The Archaeus floods me through Ursula Major's framework. Hail Anima Mundi, salvation to the kingdom coming. Wayfarer's prayer for the lapse of man's nadir. The dream still beneath where the Sphinx kneels. The three kings reveals the link between the good shepherd of fields and the solstice's circuit around Nern's circling wheel. You disturb the ancient temple of Enlil, pillage artifacts as you pass. I sit back and watch the cavern collapse.
hair, tearing off my voice, and the sea blinding me with its lights, the lives of the dead unreeling in it.
Frostbitten pain star, midsummer raindrops, stillbirth opaque flaws, vague hope searched in vain for silent graves, torns, linear brain waveforms, shapeless silhouettes soar like vapors, fade in a pale shade of snowflake blade storms, a jaded radiance dwindled, lingering faceless, patient staves, gilded embraces, dancing towards empty forms for scores of epochs, shores, waves of millennial causations, distraught patrons of the veiled parade, straight to graves etched, familiar names emblazoned, the human materialization, like the manifestation of a labyrinth on the planet's face, laced with pathogens in its millions of passages, apertures of avarice, we grasp at that which has no potential for nations, this passionate infatuation with fleeting attachments, transient amalgamation of the flesh's ambience, neglected didactic facets of sapient lamentation, vestiges of ecclesiastic passages detached from cogitation, bated breath, that which is forsaken lies in stasis, in chambers arid, innate and traces disengaged in death, synchronistic veils between this plane and the next, pallid angels, lacerated flesh, teetering on the edge until its halo sets.
He roams the expanse of romance that grows and expands, both into and from the world. His heart holds in his hands cosmic oceans comprised of emotions that conspire to hold it. His soul's frozen in the gnosis of the convoluted throes of an ongoing dance. The music they move to blooming forth in an immortal advance. Her smile is the prize, the wealth of worlds collected could never tower as high. He spins her around with the intention of every now is his life. Her dress figuratively lifting, umbrellaing out to her size. Moon showery, a cruise power as light sprouts from her eyes. Nothing means more than seeing love surround her inside. As long as this is what he sees, his bliss will be a seed with a recalcitrant tide. No amount of satellites, not even thousands combined, could hope to challenge his high. He doesn't even have to be a partner in the waltz, she spirals inside. It's all about the happiness that falls about it. It drives his heart to pound so alive. It's why he exists. He was conjured by the wand of a witch. This undying assignment of his is to be certain that she will never wander a world. Sublime love won't find it within an oneiromantic realization he will observe, despite what might wish to obscure his line of sight. In the end, this image is bored inside him. No form of blindness could pose a threat to this aural light being dim.
Ether, the perfect medium for wandering sleepless. Breathe swift as your feet lifts. The leak hiss of helium pervades the Aetherium forge. A vague bliss as the plague's kiss knocks on your door. Unobserved, a grey mist comes forth to be born. But upon a straight glimpse, only dregs glint on the floor. A husk with a straight purpose. Dawn breaks yet the hamlet remains in the shade's current. If you don't know what hate is, then you'll remain caged as your fate's servant. For anyone who feigns elation in today's frayed circuit, stays a slave behind the play's curtains. You'll die masqueraded behind a mind invaded by Celestine imitations and sky dive from grace like the wax slate Icarus. You deny the gesture's blade only upon its emergence, refusing to acknowledge truths prior to its occurrence. Another grave awaits before the reigns of Nero's circus. My hero's curse is furtive. Between the veils of worlds I'm torn. Within myself through hymns of nails I've roared. My fortress scorched to naught but a weathered door. Yet I machete forth with a severed staff and broken sword. The half-awakened lord whose dreams he's forsaken, so he takes flight in a makeshift silent spaceship to an aquatic shore, hoping the tides will take him. glide within a life constellation, deprived of all but the night sedation. Guidance forsaken, my darkness is my art to the flood. And although you only see my partial sun, my heart has wholly wove my love to what I've become. Silenced, shunned, to the kingdom I soon come. The ambrosial roots run in the church of the blue nuns. Sow the seeds for which you wish to reap. The roots will shift to seek release from winter's cold. And although steeped in snow, it feeds on mother's wheat from which it finds the beat to grow. For if ever my feet will cease its stroll, I'll hack my fleet's control, synapse my soul and laugh as my heat wreaths around the globe. I will never speak the words of an eager worm wishing to meet the falcon's hold. My oath is set in stone, my spirit will never douse, even when but a dim ember glows. The will of 1,000 shout to stoke the forge and prevent it slow. My hypnagogic cloud abode drowns in cold in the shroud of the mountains. Hold a foul zone which feral assassins comb. A scythe galvanized, accumulated from the cloud spire. A vagrant bound arises despite the ire of vilifying eyes. Like psilocybin flies the hive, my dominion shines from the winter empire's divine.
Or like an octopus with its 8 arms tilted on their side. Synesthetic fervor flies, eternal stride ensues. The twinkle the burnt provides, lively strewn through all supernal skies. This emerging light balloons, a synchronized surge of colorfully bright kabooms that mildly bloom right before your eyes. Even though you're being observed from a point of view that an absurd amount of worlds divide. It's all just waves on the shore, a multiverse of clouds. The onlooker incorporates what pours, a sea of orchids with sacred chords. When you gaze into them, what sort of images do you see taking form? For beauty's innately born, it wakes in the embrace of someone themselves, appreciative of being embraced by the wonder that they consume. Food for those who see such things, like how under a fragrant moon flowers bloom beneath the shade, where dragons rule the clouds, the burgeoning fruit of Sirius veins. Rainbows come swooping down as they submerge their wings in rain. You see the breadth of a rare spectrum, like that of a smile. That's the match that lights your soul, so you can see your own reflection, a flame you can't ignite on your own. It's something you can't control, a sudden bomb inside your heart that randomly explodes, yet does not provide you harm. Spontaneous combustion, your aura begins to roar. A chorus of vibrant whispers, a mural that ends all wars. You go where you are taken, a cartoon sense of lore, floating to where you belong on a song that the wind performs. A forest within adorned with swarms of lamprous, peaceful, sylvan glitch, a drucy glow, wisconsin and endless rift. Mackenzie shift, dark adaptation, my glimpse eclipse. Dimly lit, blue ghosts haunt the limbs adrift. The happiness that scavenge in a bottomless emptiness. The little bits you're able to gather along the way as you're falling into it. My doom can't dampen my mood. I'm oblivious, seeing a cactus bloom beneath the moon is an eternity in a blip. He is taken by the tide, and although he is returned to his grave unalive, nothing can usurp the waves he imbibed. He perceives the world's lamentations, and this world is seen from the vantage of a spaceship. His solar system's a single soul, and the ravine between them's a cosmic canyon of separation. But that void's no match for the stars in that marine wavelength. It's expanding panoramic, large band radiation. Nothing can tamper with his intimate understanding of far-off gravitation. He is drawn to where he doesn't belong and can't escape it. He is not welcome. He does his best to remain in the outer realms of where the unprecedented flames of his power hails from. So it's not to trespass and invade, but it's how it dwells none.
First off the chosen seed, in the beginning.
Melancholy stargazer, dark saber swordplay, parliament configuration, tricky stitchiform maze, cunning fox, love unlocks the puzzle box's doorway. Butterflies a flutter inside, he swirls away his destiny far beyond the horizon, but he's on the way with no indication that anything that he wants awaits. A rainbow compounds her halo, a crown ablaze, a lake of flowers rage, endless summer, nothing can douse the flames. Her fire stoic, he's bound to place the most pleasant night he knows. Paradise explodes, volcano mountain rage, his love drowns his veins. Each hour becomes 1,000 days, completely flooded, he's smothered amid the valley's waves. It's not her fault that she's a star, that's a mouse all shade. He tumble walks in the radiant star showers rays. It sounds insane, but atmosphere decides how clouds behave. For him, she's ever present, so she never won't amount to rain. Devout, the sound is made by his heart as it pounds away. It's only God, the love behind it is how we praise. How very grateful John Nash couldn't count the ways.
I prefer to break away in silence through steady gates. It's either lift and meditate, heighten and die and embrace decay. Be mindful of your isolation, lest an ire ignites pyres of dire fate, a blight that confines your mind of climbing through to higher states. Collide with kaleidoscopic paradises, lie awake where time is late in defying rates. Manipulation of temporal mind escapes. Horological sight delayed like an Izanami iris play. The seed of the Tsukiyomi tree proceeds convoluted tune of the waltz of changes embraced by those with an unequivocal myopic gaze. Apotheosis to hypnosis stage where dystopic roads abound below to queer flow a trace. I expound the gnosis found in overgrowth of naiads, caves, aphotic bounds and gross in photoluminescent violet rays. The moon is sound asleep underneath the tomb of a foul grave, a nameless fog and episodic sways oscillating in a brief melodic way.
That sacred top of Oreb or of Sinai just inspire that shepherd.
There was never any doubt as to whether he had skill, just about how far he'd go to keep it ill. It's making me ill, contemplating the matter. Spirits over digits when the digits didn't matter. Watch him gather his assembly of moons, giants in their own right. How could that be wrong? But listen, don't even breathe a word of this. We all feel aloof the time when the herb hit this illness with a dose of realness. A quantumous mind, do you know what even killed this? Real this trance like Mike, like I'm letting a whack. Windmill caught in your eye like a cataract. Ain't no time to counteract, I just turned your hour back. Mountain path, head for the hills or encounter acts. Recount the facts to myself amusingly. Maybe I make this for myself exclusively. I believe in unity above almost all else. From the tallest dome to the smallest of cells. All hell's broken loose and we're eye deep. If you claim you're woke, can bet you're wide asleep. If I could find a beat, then I would eat my hi-hat. Ain't the faintest pulse in these fools. No life sap, arrive at the place I set my eyes at. Meet the realm head on, never bypass heron. Over the lake of blue lily, too high to ride past. Reflect them musically. What's a human being without demons and bee stings? Three kings seeking string theories, peeking in precincts. Then life follows suit. How'd they get the strange program to auto boot? So this what I'ma do, bless up a somber tune. Click on my dropper tool, drop it on you marble tomb.